Well, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Devan Twyman, and I also have Jamie on as well. So I am the Chief Product Officer here at Springboard, and then Jamie is also part of our development team. So I'm just going to go ahead and kick this off. I'm going to make sure. Okay, so we're just going to kick this off. So this is officially, I do want to make sure I have Jamie's mic on. I'm just going to, there you go. Jamie, you can talk now. Okay, this is basically our first official product release webcast. And so moving forward, we want to kind of give you guys more transparency into our new product releases, and just to give you a holistic approach across what we have been developing and what we're about to release. So some of the topics that we're going to go over today are around our entire platform. So that is the game launcher, that is the monitor station, and then a new feature that has been in beta is the booking feature. So we have some enhancements there that we're going to be showcasing as well. So I'm going to just kick this started. The key things here are going to be, we do have a new launcher overlays. We are going to talk about an idle desktop display, the improved monitor station, booking enhancements, language translation, theme park mode, disabled Oculus Home for those people that are using Oculus in the arcades setting, and then some hardware information tracking that we currently are using today for some troubleshooting. We are also giving you insight into that as well. So that is what we are going to cover. And Jamie, feel free to interrupt me since you are tracking the QA, and let me know if we are getting any questions. And in the meantime, we are going to take questions at the very end of this. So there is a QA section or a question and answer section within Big Marker that we're using today. So feel free to enter all of your questions there, and then at the end, we will address them. All right, so let's kick off kind of showcasing the new launcher overlays. So a few things here that I want to address are, number one, we have included the volume adjustment. So I know some of you guys have enabled the lockdown Steam VR, which really hides the Steam VR dashboard menu bar. And with that hidden, you know, it did not allow your clients to be able to adjust the volume. So what we did is we added the volume adjustment into our new overlays. So when your clients do click on the system button, this is what they're going to see. And so this is the kind of new look and feel. Another key component is the game controller guide. So if they do click the system button and you do have the game controller guide activated, then within each game, it is going to walk them through each component. And so you'll see throughout the slide deck that I have included a tip guide so you know where to go and make sure that you have enabled certain different functions once we release this product release, okay? And so the new things here are these two overlays. And one thing that I'm going to mention to you and walk you through is how would you go into your admin panel and make any adjustments to the game control. In your admin panel, go to a particular game within your library. So for this example, I'm looking at the Quiver game. And if I scroll to the very bottom, you will see that there's an edit game instructions. this is where you will be able to make any edits to any of those game instructions. And if you have this enabled, that is what your customers are going to see if they hit the system button. So it is going to be those game controls based on that individual game. Okay. One thing to note, our goal, was to make sure that around the top 100 games would have everything kind of filled out. So I know we've reached out to our clients today, and we're about 50% there. And so just know when we do release this early next week, you will be able to come in here and see the ones that we have defaulted to have each kind of trigger touchpad have for the top 100 games. So you will be able to go in there and make those adjustments moving forward. And if there's any changes that we do on the front end, it will not revert to whatever you've custom did on your admin panel. Okay. So I'm going to move forward to the next item, which is the idle desktop display. So a lot of customers have kind of talked to us that when you do not have a customer in play, that you would like something on your TVs rather than just the launcher. And so what we have implemented is the ability to turn on idle desktop display, which means we will do a trailer reel, which is basically a stream of the videos from your game library. So if you do have 20 games, and based on what videos are uploaded on those games, it will be a trailer reel if you do turn that function on. And so as you can see on the tip here, I'm going to walk you through how you would actually turn that on. So you'd come in here, go to each station. So you're going to go into your panel, go to station, go to each of your stations, and then you will see under launcher options, you will see idle mode. And your options are disabled, which means you just want the launcher. If it's in idle mode, you have no clients in play, you want the launcher visible. If you do want the trailer reel or the videos, you would select the videos. And then if you actually would rather it just go to your desktop, you can select desktop. All right, the next item here is the monitor station. One thing that I wanted to note here is for the people that have been part of our exclusive beta, they have been able to play around with our new monitor station. So some of the key things that I'm going to walk through on this is we do have a unique URL now. We actually rebuilt the monitor station. You do now have a noise notification for the call for help. We've made some UI and UX improvements, and then I think most of you guys would be most excited about is that it is fully phone and tablet supported. So you can have your employees have this unique URL on their phone and have the monitor station on their phone. And then there are a few items here that will be under the tooltips that's going to show you how you could actually remote turn on or turn off the launcher right from the monitor station. Being able to segment each station by an age rating, and then being able to remotely launch a particular game right from the monitor station. So I'm going to go right into that. And so you can see right now, for the ones that have not seen our new monitor station, this is the look and feel of it. Obviously, some of this does include some of our booking things, but for example, Station 5 here does not have booking turned on. So if you do not use our booking feature right now, you will still be able to add time, start and extend from here. So as I stated before, the key thing here is we have rebuilt this. This is a unique URL, and it is responsive, so it can really fit on a tablet and on a phone very easily. And if I had this unmuted, you would hear the call for help as well. I won't hurt your ears for that. But that is what the call for help will do, and it will be an audible noise there. One thing I will say before I forget here, so with the new look and feel, you will see your locations are going to be within this menu bar. And for the people that do have custom time options, this is where you would see that location. Okay? And in a little bit, I will talk about the calendar and the booking feature, but I primarily just wanted to get you guys understanding that the new look and feel of the monitor station looks like this. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually talk to you about some of the tooltips. So when we do release this product release early next week, you will see a tooltip on every station. And what this tooltip does, it's going to give you various different functionality. Based on each station, you can remotely start the launcher. And if this was on, off, you could turn it on and off here, or you could have a hard restart, okay? A hard restart there. The other thing to this is the ability to set a particular age, right? So within your admin panel, for every game, you will be able to put a particular age rating. And so this is where if a 12-year-old comes in, you can actually set this for 12, and then it will look to see what games you have allocated within the admin panel to only appear in the menu within the launcher. Okay? The other thing, which I'll get into more detail on the translation, is if you do have a customer that does need the launcher in Spanish, or French or German, you can actually set that station right here to a particular language as well. And then, so the remote launch. So this is where if you have someone coming in that specifically wanted to play Job Sim, and you actually want to launch them right into Job Sim without kind of going through that menu, you could just search Job Sim, select here, and launch them. Now they would still have access to the menu. So if they hit that Systems button you know, leave game, then they would actually be into the menu. But this gives you the functionality to be able to launch someone maybe right into the tutorial, maybe right into a game from the very start, but then they would still have access to the menu thereafter. This maintenance function here is primarily for our booking feature, but I will note it since we're here right now. So the booking maintenance here is basically a pause function. Say you do have one station, someone broke the TV, you need to work on that, or the headset is acting up, you can actually schedule a maintenance and say, I need that particular station on pause for 3 hours. So you can schedule a particular maintenance to say, I don't want any more bookings to be placed on this particular station for a period of time. Okay. So now,
hey, Devin, it seems that your microphone is a little bit poor connection.
okay.
Okay, you're back.
Okay. I'm back. Great. So I will repeat what I said just a second ago. Again, these tooltips, the admin panel, library, games, edit per game, and age rating. So that is where you would want to make sure each of your games, you have an age rating set for that, for the monitor station to work appropriately for that age rating. And you would do that by right here, age rating. Age rating is located right here. Under games, library, under a particular game, age rating. All right, I am gonna move into the booking enhancements. First off, before we go into the enhancements, I'm gonna give everyone a high-level overview of our booking feature, because I know some of you guys maybe have been part of our webcast for our booking feature, but maybe some of you have not. So I'm going to give a very high-level overview of our booking feature. This is an example of UpwardVR.com. This is our research and development arcade here in Oklahoma City. And so, you know, they are able, what they did is they set up their booking widgets. And so this is our booking widget. They were able to customize the color, the font here. And so with their customers can come here and select how many players, right? So for this example, Upward has a maximum number of players per station as 4. So if I select 5, it will automatically not allow me to select one station, okay? And so this is just a high-level, quick view of how they can make a reservation online and the customization and see what is available there, okay? And then they would proceed there and hit continue. So with that, so say you do enable this feature, then now let's kind of look at how this is integrated into our monitor station and then also into the launcher. And so this example right here is I made a reservation. I made a reservation for at 4 p.m. And so your employees would see this and see, okay, Devan has come in. I'm checking her in. And yes, I'm going to confirm that I received that payment. So there's kind of 2 options, and I'll go into more detail. You can have people actually pay in store, where they can make the reservation online but pay in store, or you can do 2 integrations now. You can do the Square integration that we have, and in this product release, we are going to have Stripe integration. So you can actually have them take payment online through those 2 integrations that we have today. All right, so when I hit start, this is when it will actually start that minute, and you can still edit that reservation. So say you need to edit it, you need to move them to a particular different station, you can do that from here. You can also cancel the booking, and you can also extend. So you can do a paid extension, or you could do a free extension as well, okay? If they did pay online, and they wanted to extend 30 minutes, your employees would select this 30 minutes and they would automatically charge the card that was associated to that reservation. All right. One other thing here, as a quick overview, I kind of walked you through how your customers could make a reservation online, how your employees can check someone in, how they can edit a booking, and how they could extend. So one of the other things is looking at the calendar view. So the reason why the calendar view was really built is to give you a snapshot. How are the reservations? How does it look? Where could we actually fit in a walk-in? So where could we actually fit in a walk-in? And so we call this an in-house reservations. So someone that's doing a walk-in or even a call-in, your employees could handle this right here. Right. So if I go back to the calendar and we kind of talk about some of the enhancements that we've done on booking, that is on the calendar view, we do have the ability to see a week view here. And so this week view is just kind of a summary of the number of bookings, how many hours, minutes, and then kind of your occupancy. So an occupancy kind of percentage. So based on your hours of operation, what is the percentage that has been occupied? Okay. Another item, I just want to kind of reference this. So another item that was a enhancement is, or a request was, we do have some arcades that are open past midnight. So they needed their hours of operation to be past that midnight. So we have accommodated for that. So under your setup, under booking, under your hours of operation, you now can have that past that midnight mark. So we have made that change for you. The next thing is the coupons and group discounts, which I know those were two very big requests when we did launch with the booking. And so I do want to walk you through those. So first off, coupons, let me walk you through those. So you have some options here. So for your discount type, you have the option of doing a percentage off or amount off. So for this example, I've done a percentage off. So I want 100% off, so I want free. So this could be utilized for your free demo, okay? You do have the ability to set a start and end date here, and then also the ability to set, you know what, this coupon cannot be applied until they at least have 3 stations. So we are giving you some flexibility of creating those coupon variables there, okay? One thing to note here is the coupon will work with other discounts. So you can tell us if you want the coupon and also group discounts to be applied. If not, if you want the coupon to be the one that takes place, then you would not have that turned on. Okay, so that's coupon. One thing I do want to note, as I had shared with you in that in-house mode, we did have a few arcades suggest that they really needed a little bit more flexibility in this in-house functionality here. And so this is where your employees could enter a coupon here as well. So whatever coupons you have created in the admin panel, for instance, the free demo, they could enter here to make sure that there's no charge applied and that you can properly report on this. The next one that I want to talk about is discounts. So think of them as group discounts. So this was something that quite a few arcades have been requesting, and so you still have the same functionality telling us, do you want the percentage off or the amount off? For this example, I'm doing 25% off. Discount name is just for internal purposes. So, you know, 3 stations at 25% discount. Again, you have a start date and end date, and then telling us the minimum number of stations. So a great example of that, let me share this with you. So this is upwards reservation. Okay, so we have 3 people and we set that group discount to 3 stations. So you can see right now, it automatically is applied to that 25% discount. If I go back to 1, you'll see that the 25% is not there. But as soon as I select 3, your customers will be able to see that they do receive a 25% discount automatically based on the number of stations that they have selected. Okay, so I believe we've talked about majority of the booking enhancements. We've talked about the weekly calendar view. I do want to note one thing here on the weekly here, where you will see an export. So where you will have the ability to export your booking information specific to, let's see, where was that? Here. Around kind of the data around your booking, you would be able to go there and do an export right from here. So this is just really a raw data right now, but you are able to do some reporting on that. We talked about the midnight. I think we have covered every piece of the booking enhancements. Jamie, have I missed anything?
Nope, looks good to me so far.
Okay. And I briefly mentioned, but we will have 2 integrations starting early next week. We started with Square, and now we've moved into Stripe integration. Okay, so now I'm going to move into kind of our translation, knowing that we have quite a few arcades in various different countries. We have been requested for some language translation. So right now, with this new product release, we are releasing with German, French, and Spanish starting early next week. And so this is just and
Portuguese as well.
Yes. And so one of the things is I just wanted to give you a snapshot of what this actually looks like. So in the launcher, you can see that the call for help, the time remaining will all be translated for you. The other thing, as you can see, the monitor and also the reservation will also be translated. One thing that I do want to know is with this, the booking reservations and the monitor station will auto-localize to the end user computer or phone setting. So if your customers go to your website and their phone is set in French, it will populate as French. Okay. I do have to say 2 things. 2 things are still going to be manual. And they are in the product roadmap, but categories and then the game controls and game descriptions will still need to be manually translated within your admin panel. So those are the 2 things. So right here, when you select categories, and then the game instructions will need to be translated manually within your admin panel. But the rest of it will be set by your organization settings. So where that is located is when you do log into your admin panel, right underneath your name, you should see organization settings, and then you should see language here. And early next week, you will see German, French, and Spanish there as an option. Okay. All right. Okay. So now we're getting into, I just have a few more items here. So start preparing your questions in the Q&A section. Theme park mode. I would be interested to know how many of you today that are on the call operate in more of a theme park mode. You know, this is more trying to support those additional admission-based business models versus the traditional system of booking a station for an allocated amount of time. So what we've done is we've created like 2 keyboard shortcuts, and you can see those here. which then can be bound to a USB button to start and stop if you do operate in a more theme park mode. And so you would have the ability to disable our launcher. And with that disabled means that you would have that trailer reel based on those videos. And so you would simply do that Control-Shift F1 to start the first game that you have on that particular station. And then if you wanted to do Control-Shift F2, that would actually stop that particular game. Would then, if you did have disabled launcher, then basically the trailer reels would be populated. So I would be interested to know how many of you guys on this call actually operate in that way. And if you do, feel free to contact Hunter to actually make sure this gets set up correctly for you. But we have implemented the launcher to operate in, again, supporting various different business models. All right, the next one is Oculus. So I know that there are some of you that are using Oculus in your arcade. And so we've been requested if we could potentially be able to disable the Oculus Home. And we have. So in this new build that we will have early next week, when you do use Oculus with Springboard and they do hit that home button, it will not pull up Oculus Home. I do want to make one note is if there are games that support Oculus as well, make sure you have this function added to the launcher options in Steam. Otherwise, the Steam VR overlay will not work. So just like the theme park mode, if there are any arcades that are operating the Oculus in the arcade setting, please feel free to reach out with Hunter and he will make sure that you have Oculus set up correctly in working with Springboard. And we are very close to being done. One thing here is, if you guys ever reach out to us, especially with Hunter, I'm sure you guys have all been working with Hunter or Madison very closely. And so if there is something that you do report on, this is something that Hunter will be looking at. And so what we did is just to kind of give you a look. So this is just the ability for us to populate some of the hardware information so it will help us troubleshoot. So we figured we would also include it in the admin panel. So video memory, the antivirus that you currently use, and there's the different version that you have on the Steam VR. Those are the types of things that Hunter will be looking at to see if he can help troubleshoot if you're having any issues. So we thought we would give you the transparency as well. So you would see that in your admin panel under stations. If you go under edit per station, you will see this when we do the update. All right, we are ready for questions. So if you guys have any questions, put it to the Q&A.
Yeah. I've been kind of monitoring that. So the most upvoted one, because there's upvoting here, is for online booking. Are we able to charge a deposit? For example, 50% of the cost online and 50% when the customer comes in. So right now, no. It is a full payment online. There's a few reasons for that. One is that it's much easier for us to get Square to do a single full charge, and then you see it as one charge in your invoices. But as well, we wanted to sort of make the process as streamlined as possible. You make a reservation, you pay, you're in, and you're ready to play. As soon as you get in, you're ready to play. So that was our decision making around that. It's definitely not out of the question. I'm putting it down here in the notes right now. And this is one thing that we've also heard before. So it's definitely something that we're kind of putting into the process that we're definitely thinking about the best way to implement this. The thing to remember too is that when we do these things, we want to make sure that, we're supporting it correctly in Stripe and in Square and in the payment processors we kind of have planned for the future as well.
And I will state this just for people that maybe haven't used Booking. Under the Booking setup, you do have the ability to tell them your refund policy. And so if you set that at 24 hours, we could provide a full refund. And so that is functionality there as well. I know your comment was 50-50, but right now we do take 100% of that, but they do have the capability of canceling the reservation based on a particular time frame that you set. Okay.
Cool. The next one for us is there an integrated waiver system yet that would replace something like Smart Waiver? No, not yet. It's something that we definitely really, really want to do as soon as possible. I don't know if we have a few planning stages and we're looking at options like if somebody makes a reservation for a party of 3, being able to send, have 3 emails and say, okay, send the waiver to these 3 people. They can sign it digitally, and then you don't have to worry about it in the arcade. And kind of tracking who has signed the waiver, who hasn't. We're definitely looking at that. It's something that we really want to do.
Yes.
I imagine it probably will be top of our priority list.
Right. It is on our product roadmap. A few things are ahead of that in regards to legal, making sure that, a 13-year-old does not sign the waiver and make the reservation. So we're implementing something there. And then also if someone does make a reservation as a group, that we are trying to figure out the best plan of attack and making sure that all parties are receiving the waiver and obtaining the waiver for you. So yes, it is in the product roadmap.
Okay, another one from Joshua. Joshua's asking the hard-hitting questions right here. Is there any offline mode for Springboard yet? Sometimes we take stations off-site and can't use Springboard because we don't have internet access to the station. We've talked about it. We have no plans for it right now. To give you a little bit of insight, there is an internal reason why we want this as well. Is that as developers, it's really good for us to be able to test things completely offline, so that we are able to still develop features without having to have an internet connection. So there is some internal kind of pressure for us to bring this up as soon as possible, but I'll let Devan answer exactly kind of where on the roadmap it sits, but I'll let you know we've been talking about it.
Right, and you can see it. So we, we mentioned theme park. So theme park mode is getting there. The ability to disable the launcher, the ability to disable the timer, and everything like that. It is definitely we're making progress in getting there where you can use Springboard offline, but I would not say it's in our next release.
We're gonna quickly roll back because Sebastian put something into the chat here. He says something effective for waivers was the initial person booking gets an email with a link to fill out the waiver, and then the other persons get invited to the waiver by the original person with an add guest button, pretty much. Yeah, so that's, I don't want to make any promises, but that's pretty well what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, my mic is a little low. Okay. I'll turn it up a little bit. There you go. Okay, back. Okay. Preston says, are there any plans to add pricing customization per person as well? For example, we charge to reserve the station per hour, and then any additional people sharing the station pay a discounted entry fee. Yeah, so we've, I'm trying to think of the best way to answer this. We've looked at more flexible pricing models. Pardon me. Kind of for our first release, we sort of are trying to cast the biggest net, and then we're sort of refining into different business models and sort of pricing models as well. So let me put it this way. We hope to make that possible with discounts. That's probably the best thing that I can say right now for that type of person-based discount. Is that fair to say, Devan?
Yeah. So for right now, you can see that on the discounts, we focused it on based on stations. And if I'm hearing Jamie correctly, you basically are wanting the number of persons. You're wanting a discount associated to the number of persons reserved. Is that correct? And if that is correct, yes. Again, we just launched the booking feature just probably a little less than a month ago. And so this was our first phase of enhancements, and we will continue to enhance the booking feature.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, and before I move on, I'm sorry, the most important thing, so if there is anything that you guys feel like is very critical to your business, please make sure that you are sending an email to support@springboardvr.com to making sure that we are getting tickets for your feature request. Because moving forward, what we are doing is we are making sure that we're talking to Josh, which I'm sure a lot of you guys have spoke with. He's part of our acquisition team. And then we have Hunter and we have Madison. So when we are working on figuring out our next sprints, we are 100% listening to our clients. And so we want to make sure that if there are feature requests or even bug reports, we want you guys to submit those and make sure we're tracking those appropriately.
Cool. We have a very popular question. I'll let you take this one, Devan. By Gail, when will commercial licensing of games come out?
Yes, that is a hot topic. So currently right now it is in the legal phase. And so currently working through that. And my answer to this is we will keep you updated on the actual product release. But it is in development and it is in the hands of legal right now. And so we're waiting for some of those legal hurdles to be overcome, and then we will continue on that path. But I will say it will be in 2017.
Okay, Logan Pickett asks, what is the next POS system that will be implemented with the booking feature? Now, do you mean point of sale? Oh, I see what you're saying, point of sale. And so right now we just have online payments, so through Stripe and Square. We're looking at the third option, which was the request. Now, Jordan, you'll have to remind me exactly what option that is. And then in terms of actual point of sale systems, that is something that we're investigating right now, like actual physical point of sale systems, like with a card at your arcade that will integrate into our system.
Right.
But for right now, what we are launching is Square and Stripe, two payment processors that basically have the same name.
Right. I will say this, that I know there are several arcades out there that are offering additional items in their arcade, popcorn, Coke, beer, whatever it is, right? And so that is something that we are in discussion about, and being able to wrap that into our overall booking and kind of point of sale strategy.
Jenny just says, if I already use Square, would transaction online through you and my in-house transactions roll into the same account? Yeah. And you can even choose what location. So if you remember when Devan showed you the Upward VR tab and it showed that little booking reference, you can choose what arcade location that goes to. So each of these little widgets can be location. And it will roll the invoices into the Square account just like any other transaction would. Okay, moving on. Justin Adams asks, shouldn't the discount tell you what the regular price of the 3 stations is and not the individual price compared to the discount? Yeah, Justin, I know exactly what you're saying. And that is just a bug. I realizing that right this second. We had a little bit of a problem just a couple days ago where it wasn't showing the right prices, and I guess we didn't solve it. So that is a bug. It'll show you the total price. That total price will be crossed out, and then you'll have the discounted total price, not the price per station. So you see there, Devan, says $16.26 crossed out and $36.59. Yeah, it will be the full total price there, which I think would be 40-ish.
Yeah.
So that is just a bug. I've actually already have a fix ready to go for that one. Okay, moving on. Thomas Hadel says, Hadel. Are we able to set our own trailers, videos that play during idle time?
So currently, right now, it is based on your game library. So no, not in this release. That doesn't mean we can't change that. Whoops. So if I go, and obviously, it's wanting me to log back out. But if you go back into, I'm going to stop sharing for 1 second and get this working.
Your screen sharing has been disconnected.
Well, what it will do is under your games library, it will start with the very first one. It'll start with the very first one, the next one, and everything like that. So right now for this product release, it is based on your games library, and it will start from the top and go down. But I will make sure Jamie adds that to a product enhancement.
Hey, Preston asks, when can we expect the new booking enhancements to be available? So I think this is more, we're going to roll it out entirely as a release 2.1, scheduled for Monday next week. Is that right, Devan? Monday?
Yes, early next week.
Yep. Early next week. Yeah. Okay, so that will be, the new booking enhancements will be available with those as well. Okay. Gail Berkeley asks, can you explain how the minimum age system works as far as how the station knows the age of the user? Does the user input the age or the employee? So the employee sets that. It's entirely done by the employee. So the process is you go into your games in the arcade panel. Then you can set the age rating on the games. Then once that those are set on the station monitor, as somebody comes in, you can change the age. And that's all done by the actual employee. It's not done by the user.
Right. So here's an example. Let me go to a game that I know has a rating. So I believe Quiver has a rating, 8. So 8 right here. So when you would go into your admin panel, or I'm sorry, your monitor station, and you would set that to 8, then Quiver would be shown, but nothing else, right? So you would want to set that at 7, if that makes sense. So right now, how our aging system, our age rating works, you would want to make sure every game in your game library has an age rating that you want to make sure that would be filtered out. Then when you go to your monitor station, and it's going to look maybe a little bit different, but then you would go here and you would select, hey, this child is 5 and under, 6 or under, and whatnot. So that is how the age rating actually works. Did I answer that question?
I think so. Okay, we can move on here. Justin Adams. So we can't add a set of instructions for each language in the control section. Do we need to manually change them every time they select a different language? At the moment, it's a single language. Correct me if I'm wrong, Devin, but it's just one language for the controls of the game. That is going to change, though.
Yes, that is correct. Right now, that is correct. It is one language right now for those two things. Everything else has, but I did want to really clearly state that those are the two things that are still in the product roadmap, is making sure the game controls, game categories, descriptions, and whatnot, we have a better plan around those.
Okay, moving on. Joshua says, does the call for help trigger any audible or distinct alert for the staff? Yes, it does. It is a sound. It is a loud, alarming sound.
Yes. I had muted, so you can see that I have this muted, so I did not hurt everyone's ears. But when that call for help was going, it is an audible sound.
It kind of sounds like an alarm, like beep 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 beep. It's definitely noticeable. There's something else to mention here. In the new monitor, when time runs out, you also get a little bit of a notification as well, kind of a boop boop sound that notifies you that a station's time has run out somewhere. Okay, is there any way to add Vivecraft to Springboard? Yeah, I love Vivecraft. I play, actually more than any other VR game, I play Vivecraft. And I can't give you a very good answer for this. In the context that we currently make Springboard, Vivecraft can't really work. However, we're looking into it. Maybe this is the best way to put it. Is just kind of like, it's something that we know is there, and we know that a lot of people like, including myself. But at the moment, there are no solid plans. All right, moving on. Mario asks, can you add a feature where you can turn on off microphones? Sometimes I get feedback with stations being close. Some people like the mics and some don't. Are you saying that, like, if somebody's in like a rec room, they can hear the other people in the arcade? Okay. I don't think that is currently in our roadmap, but I don't imagine that'd be too terribly difficult. I'll definitely mark that in right now.
That would be a great one. The game that was just mentioned, and then also this one, make sure to send an email to support@springboardvr.com so we for sure get a ticket for some of these product requests.
Okay, moving on. Sebastian asks, how difficult would it be to add a command to turn off the physical station? Running a shutdown -F-T0 command, essentially. Thanks. So yeah, like actually turning off the PC, not difficult. I don't know exactly what we'd have to have it running as administrator, but I think we already do that. So it wouldn't be too terribly difficult. What exactly is the use case for this? Just being able to just shut it down, like you don't want to go to the physical computer? Or is there some sort of debugging reason that you'd want this? End of day. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to write this down right now. Shutting down actual PC.
So one of the things, with the tooltip, we do have the ability to turn on and off the launcher. So his request is simply to turn off the actual computer. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So Spencer just asked this in chat. Is there a way to track conversions from AdWords or Facebook on the booking system? So if they land on your website, which is where we kind of put the booking widget, it'll track just like everything else. There's just Google Analytics. You can just add any sort of tracking software that you'd like onto your own website. That being said, there is a way for us to link directly to a booking that doesn't include your website. So Devin didn't show this, but for example, if you wanted to have like a Book Now link in Facebook or something, oh yeah, here we are. You can actually just link straight to here. This one won't track ads for your own account. So this is because this is our own domain. You can see up in the URL, it's a Springboard domain. There's no way for us to host this onto your URL. So for this link, the individual URL that's not embedded on your webpage, this will not track AdWords or Facebook conversions. However, if it is on your own website, for example, like it was on Upward, then yes, it will track that stuff. Okay, moving back over. Charles asks for the call to help noise. I noticed it was added before, but if the phone screen was turned off, then the notification would not be heard. Yeah, so unfortunately, I have two answers to this question. One depends on the phone. Certain Android phones, certain Android phones have no problem with this, and they have a process running in the background, and will listen to, it's called a WebSocket, and just blast the speaker. However, iOS is a little bit more locked down. So iPhones and certain iOS running tablets, like iPads Pros, iPad Minis, these ones are a little bit harder to get to cooperate, and by that I mean it just doesn't work. You're on a Samsung S7 Edge. Yeah, so it depends on the browser. I know that on some versions of Chrome or Samsung browser it does work. I'm not 100% sure though. Unfortunately, this isn't really something that we can fix. It's more of the device manufacturer themselves choosing whether or not they want that. Oftentimes they won't, so that people don't end up in like spammy websites that are sort of blaring like sounds out of their phone. So generally it's called being in focus. Generally the tab needs to be in focus and turned on for sound to be heard, so that you don't have people taking advantage of that. So that kind of sucks. There's a few ways around that. If there is if you have a device that can have the screen on for a while, like it's plugged in.
Your screen sharing has been disconnected.
If you have the ability to leave the screen on, then you can just keep it running and have that sound always there. But yeah, it is sort of a limitation of the device. I know that's a little bit of a wishy-washy answer, but that is kind of how it is. Would you ever consider creating a mobile app? Yeah, so this is in consideration for sure. We want to make sure that our web products are really, really top notch. And we've even, one of the things that we are also considering is making those web products actual native applications as well, so that we can have access to the APIs, like certain audio APIs and stuff like that. But one of the things that we do want to implement, and we can do this via the website, is have push notifications. So for example, if somebody does call for help and you do have the phone off, you'll get a push notification just like you would from Twitter or whatever else. So that's something that we're definitely investigating. I don't really have a timeline or anything on that. Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to stop us there for just a second. I know it's 5 o'clock. At least it's 5 o'clock in Oklahoma. So we had kind of scheduled this for an hour. So if people need to step away, I just wanted to thank everyone. If there's additional questions, we might stay on another 5 minutes. But I did want to thank everyone for joining us today. And there's a few things, as I mentioned before. Don't forget to go to our SpringboardVR.com, go to our blog, and make sure you subscribe to our newsletters to stay up to date. So just make sure that you go there to make sure you subscribe. The other thing, there was a lot of products, features that were mentioned. Please make sure you're staying in good contact with Hunter and Madison, and make sure that you're sending any product features or requests through support that make sure that we actually get a ticket. And then with any of these features that we did discuss, and once we do make the official product release early next week, you can schedule time with Hunter. This is a link to his calendar to make sure you get on his calendar to walk through any of these features to make sure you have them set up correctly. So again, thank you, and we'll stay on for just a couple more minutes if there's any other questions.
Cool. All right. Yeah, let's continue on. Did the process for adding games change? Not that I know of. There's a few more options, but actually adding them didn't change. If it means anything, we're also looking for ways to improve the panel. No timelines on that. Okay, Joshua, are there any plans to allow individual arcade branding of the Springboard game selection world or different environment options, ideally customizable on a station-by-station basis or even linked to the age of the user? This is when I wish Jordan had a microphone, because I think Jordan would be able to answer this one pretty well. But Devin, would you like to answer this one?
On the custom environment, is that?
Yeah, so just kind of changing the theme of the launcher and how that launcher works.
Yeah, yes. So for that individual that had requested that, go ahead and send us an email and we can talk to you individually about that. We do have some options. It is not in our product roadmap currently, but we can actually talk through some custom environment options.
Okay.
I mean, sorry, real quick. It sort of is in the product roadmap, potentially very soon. So just stay tuned and posted. All I can say is it might be coming sooner than later. We're working with a company that might be able to work with individual arcades to give you custom environments on a case-by-case basis for an extra fee, of course, for them to do that work. But it could be coming potentially this year.
Cool. Mario Mitchell asks, how do you update to 2.1? So it's very simple. You update the launcher like you always have. You just open up the Update Assistant on the PC. You can update that way. It'll just automatically do that. And then for the web stuff, like the booking and the monitor and all that stuff, it just happens automatically. One of the benefits of doing these things over the web and not a native application is that we can push updates really, really, really quickly, but as well just transparently. So our application is what you would call an evergreen application. So it is always up to date, at least the website. The only thing that you have to manually do is the launcher, and you just run the Update Assistant.
Right, and so that is why it's very important to make sure you guys are on our subscription, on our that you have subscribed, because we will be sending a notification early next week when 2.1 is actually live. And the only action you will have to do is on the launcher, but then also, as you know, I provided specific tool tips and making sure that each of these items, you know where to locate and make sure that those are available to you.
Cool. Charles says, is there any news on different pricing for different stations? For example, we have two rooms. One is bigger, one is smaller, one is more premium. Yeah. This is something that is a big time request. And so a common use case too is for people who have an Oculus station or a Vive station, or in your situation where there's just some more premium space. It's definitely something that we are aware of. We have a very tentative plan. It's in the works. Let's put it that way.
Right. So I think you know, our ultimate goal is to get 2.1 out early next week. Then we're going to be moving into another sprint. We will give you guys insight into what is going into that very soon. But right now, our ultimate goal is to get you guys 2.1 as soon as possible.
Peter asks, do you have to take a physical card again when adding time if the reservation was paid in person versus with a card online? Yeah, so you do. So basically, if somebody comes in as a walk-in, they pay for an hour and they want to extend, you're going to have to reprocess that card. There's a lot of reasons for this, but one of them is that it's sort of, if there's a card present transaction, there's a lot of legal reasons why we can't store that card online. And so the laws kind of differ for countries as well. So there's a few legal reasons and kind of just a few other reasons why it is that way. But if they paid online, then we can just recharge, no problem if they extend. But if they paid in store with a card present transaction for the first payment, then every subsequent payment will have to be a card present transaction as well, which means physically swiping it. Okay. Andy asks, will the currency change with localization as well? It was in German, but the amounts were still in dollars. Yeah, this is something that you set in your payment processor. So Square, you can set what type of currency you accept. But no, the localization will not affect the currency. And that is intentional so that we don't have to do any currency conversion on our side. That is on the behest of your payment processor. Jenny Gibson asks, if I already use Square, would transactions online? Oh yeah, through my in-house transaction. Yeah, so I answered that in the chat, Jenny. Hopefully that's good. Okay, I think that's everything. Does anybody have any questions, comments before we head out? I'm going to take every single one of these questions.
All right, and if there's anything that we did miss, hopefully we did take enough time to answer any of your questions. But again, wanted to thank everyone. We will be doing more webcast and more transparency into what we're working on and releasing for you guys. So again, don't forget to submit any of your product requests to that support at springboardvr.com and be in touch with Madison and Hunter. Thank you very much.